Good evening and welcome to the Writer's Block. I'm your host, John Ronan, and as you know now, because we're in our 27th year, I talk to writers and sometimes other artists about their craft, what they're working on now, what they've accomplished in the past, what they're planning for the future. It's a wide net. As I said, we have other artists on too. We have had on musicians and sculptors and all sorts of people, actors even. And it's a wide expanse we try to examine and present. So if you have an idea for an artist who might be right for the Writer's Block, writer or not, watch for our address at the end of the program. I also want to remind you that this show and all the other original programming from KPAN TV is a product of Cable Access Television. It's a wonderful community service and not one you get if you subscribe to Dish. So watch out for those ads on television and pay no attention. Tonight, I'm very happy to say we do have a writer, a mystery writer by the name of Sharon Love Cook. She was on the show once before, 7, 8 years ago, I think, with a previous mystery, but she's back with a new mystery in the Granite Cove series called Laugh Till You Die. Sharon Love Cook was born and raised in Gloucester and Rockport, although she now lives down the line in Beverly Farms. She was educated, and this is a distinguished educational career, at Montserrat, because she is an artist, Salem State in art and writing, and then took an MFA at Bennington to finish her education. She is now a longtime columnist for the Salem News. She writes, or I should say draws cartoons for publications in Boston and elsewhere. And she is finally the proud vice president of the Friends of Beverly Animals. Sharon, welcome to the Writer's Block.
Thank you, John. That was a wonderful introduction. I wish you would do it again. I was impressed myself.
Well, I'm glad. You can watch the show over and over and over again.
I'm going to have to go to Gloucester to watch it, but
Gloucester
I
or
will.
Rockport or
Oh, too
Essex
bad it doesn't show
or
in Beverly.
Manchester.
Oh, okay.
But you can also watch it on the KPAN TV website.
Oh, wonderful.
Not-
I don't think I could the last time I was here. I don't think that was available,
I don't think
was
it was, no.
No, oh, that's great. All right.
I want to hold up your book.
Oh, thank you.
This is,
I'll hold it up, too.
Laugh Till You Die, a
Yes.
Granite Cove mystery. I want to see if we can get that in a close-up and without glare. There's no glare,
Oh,
okay.
there's your-
Yeah.
Oh, that's
okay.
great.
That's good. The drawing, the cover is by yourself,
Yes, yes.
because you were an artist and a cartoonist. And this is the third mystery in the Granite Cove series.
Yes, it is. So
Where-
now I can actually call it a series.
It is a series.
3. When I had 2, I couldn't really refer to it as a series, 2. But 3, to me, that's a solid series.
Sure,
And
that's a definite plural.
yes, that's right.
Definite plural.
I'm launched.
Where can our viewers get this?
Well, they can order it online. It's online at Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, and locally it's at the Beverly Farms bookstore, the bookstore of Beverly Farms, and Henry's Market in Beverly. It has some copies.
Good.
So they shouldn't run out.
I hope they do. And have to replenish
And then I'll restock.
over and over again. Now, you have many talents. You have an MFA in writing. You are a cartoonist. You were a journalist. You're a columnist for the Salem News.
Yeah.
Where in that career did you decide to become a mystery writer?
Well, I remember this was kind of funny how it happened. And I tell people about this, and I just came upon the little ad. There was a little ad, years ago, more than 6 years. I don't know how long ago it was. The internet was just sort of was very new. And I saw an ad in the Boston Globe, and it said, writers wanted, fiction writers wanted. And they didn't tell much. It said, send in your resume, and you had to send it to a post office box. So I sent mine in and, and told about myself. Oh, and you had to have a sample of your writing. So this fellow called me, and he said he liked my story. I had sent in a short story, and he said he wouldn't tell me what he's doing because it was kind of a secret. It was something very new, and I was a little intrigued. And then he said, but he said, we already have slots for thrillers, for like a Western, I guess, and for a medical, fiction. And he said, do you write mystery? And well, I said, oh, yes, I do. And I did right after. I thought, well, I can write a mystery. I can learn. So we got together, and I remember he was very secretive about it. And I was thinking, geez, who is this guy? What is this guy? But I remember we got together. He was in Rhode Island, and we got together at where the Patriots played, Gillette Stadium. I think that was, Foxborough. Well, I think this was Boxborough, actually. We got together at a 99 there, and I remember I said to him, it was around lunchtime, and I thought, well, this is a public place. This guy, a serial killer, I don't think he's going to go to all that trouble, to have lunch. So we got together, and I remember I said to him, well, I'll be wearing a red jacket, a red blazer. And he said, well, you'll know me. He said, I'm tall. And boy, was he. He was 6'11". So I spotted him the minute I walked in.
I gotta ask, was he an ex-basketball player?
Oh, I asked. He said everybody asks him that. No, he wasn't. But he was tall enough to be, and so he told me what his idea was, and he said he wanted to do like little serials, like get a mystery writer, and then I would supply so many words, a chapter every week.
The way the newspapers used to do.
Yes, that's right.
100 years ago.
But except this was for, remember the Palm Pilots? They had just come out, and it's so funny now, you think of it now. This is so common. This stuff is free, but he wanted to sell subscriptions so that people could would sign up, and then he would send every week whatever they ordered. He would send a certain their whatever their taste was, and so I thought that was great. So I started A Nose for Hanky Panky, and I created this town of Granite Cove, and the characters.
Which looks very much like Gloucester sometimes.
Well, it actually is. Like I could never set it in Arizona. I've been to Arizona, but I've never lived there. You write what you know, and I know the the seacoast. So I've lived on the coast all my life. I lived in Hawaii once, and that was the coast. So I've always lived near the ocean.
Uh-huh.
So I created this town of Granite Cove, and Rose, and she worked for the Granite Cove Gazette, and her boyfriend and her dog. And Chester's the only one, her dog, the 10-year-old black lab. We actually had a 10-year-old black lab. So
in Hanky Panky, is her boyfriend Cal?
Well, no, he's the cop. Cal's the cop, the hunk, the police.
But they used to go out.
Oh, they did. They were in high school. They were actually engaged, but she got cold feet. She wasn't a runaway bride, but she...
I thought they were in Hanky Panky. It's been a while since I read this.
Yes.
I thought in the beginning of that they were still together. No.
No, they weren't. Kevin had entered the picture.
Okay,
and Cal was actually married. He's married to Marcy. But he still carried the torch for Rose. And he always has. She's the one who got away. As she said, she was the one who got away. She didn't buy into the whole wedding thing, signing up for the china and all this, and it became a
very
a machine.
Independent.
Oh, she is. Yeah.
Is she modeled on any other female private detectives?
I don't think so. She's not really. She's what they call. This is what's called a cozy mystery. It's a certain category. A cozy mystery, like it's not a thriller. And cozy mysteries are amateur sleuths. Like they can be anything. You know, they're librarians. They actually have a new series. A woman's an undertaker, a funeral director, I guess I should call them. So they're amateur sleuths.
In
They're
a
not
cozy,
really.
does the investigator have to be an amateur?
Oh,
I
an
didn't-
amateur, yes.
So, Sue Grafton's novels
Oh,
are not
Kinsey
cozy
Malone.
because she's a
she's a
Kinsey a
private.
private eye, so she's,
That's right.
So those aren't cozy.
And also, in a cozy, like people know when they pick one up and when they read one that they're not going to, they're not going to read a lot of violence. I mean, murders happen. They're sort of based on, I guess the original would be Miss Marple, Jane Marple, Agatha Christie's Miss Marple. It's a little town, a little English village. It's usually a small village where people are very civil to each other and treat each other very civilly while they're plotting to murder them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they behave. They're very
And
respectable.
There are murders here. I can say without blowing.
Oh, sure. Oh, yes.
But they are very sort of.
They're not gory. They're clean.
Discreet.
That's
Yeah,
right. They
yeah.
are. They're sanitized.
Yes, yes.
They're sanitized murders, and so that's what a cozy is. And unbeknownst to me, this is this new category had come along. The cozy, and it wasn't very popular at the time. How many years ago was this? This is.
You mentioned 99. You met the person with the idea of the serial.
Yes, that's right. Because I can't remember I have it at home. I can't remember the dates right now, but so I started this, and then I went on and I submitted the first two installments, and I was working on the third, and things were going along very well. There's nothing like someone expecting. I think he expected 3,000 words or something like that, 3,000 to 5,000 words every week. So, you can't get writer's block when someone is, when you're getting paid for it and someone expects you, someone is expecting this. And something happened. I think this fellow might have realized that this is something that other people were doing. Like, he had this idea. That's what the secrecy was all about. He thought if other people found out that they were going to do it. But I think at the same time, it was being done. So people weren't paying anymore. I think they could get this free online. There were places online where you could get,
You can get anything for free.
I know. Well, now it's
So this
true.
was 17 years ago.
It
The idea
yeah.
was planted in. So was that book or that
A
production-
Nose for Hanky Panky. That was the first.
That was the first one.
Yes.
And what year did that come out?
Oh, I'm trying to think, John. It was. I think it was 2010.
So
Oh, well, actually, it came out. It came out by Mainly Murder Press. That was the first publisher who did it, who published it, and that was 2008 that it came out.
and then the second novel was, or the second mystery, Granite Cove was
it was A Deadly Christmas Carol.
A Deadly Christmas.
And if you like the story, A Christmas Carol, which that old favorite that everybody likes, I sort of, that's part of the plot. There's a group that's a community theater group, and they're putting on A Christmas Carol. So there are a couple of murderers involved and there's a murder involved in the cast. Yes, someone dies, but I get to go into that as well. Someone dies, and her body it's on the front cover. Her body is discovered in the minister's front yard, and her legs are sticking out of the trash barrel. She's lying on the ground, sort of like
I remember
this
the
was going
cover.
to be.
It's on the cover.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, it had the feet sticking out. So I'll get back to
These are all with Rose McNichols.
yes, Rose
Who
McNichols.
is the journalist.
And that's my
And-
great-grandmother's name, apparently.
Oh,
I've
really?
been told, yes. Yeah.
So Rose is modeled on your great grandmother.
Unfortunately, I never knew her, but
But so Rose McNichols was
Yes,
a journalist.
yes.
Yeah.
For the weekly, the Granite Cove Gazette.
Yes, and she's also, I want to mention this before I get too much farther along, she's also a comedian, or as we used to say, comedian.
Yes, that's right.
And
Stand up.
She's got some.
I just
some pretty
remembered that. Thank you for reminding me.
She's got some pretty good jokes in her.
I'm trying to remember all these things from the 3 volumes, and so it's good that you're kind of steering me straight, like a border collie. You're herding me back.
You said you've actually done some of that.
Yes, I did.
Stand-up comedy in nursing homes,
I
as
did.
she does.
As she does. Well, write what you know, and I wouldn't write about it unless I done it myself. And in my case, it was a couple of years ago, maybe more. I'm not very good on dates, as you can see, but I remember everything else. I took Dave Radigan's course. It was at the community college, North Shore Community College, and it's stand-up comedy. Now, Dave is, he's a Boston, he's a headliner, in Boston. He's very well known all over the North Shore and other places as well. He has this comedy, a class, and I think it was like 8 weeks, and we learned everything. Not only, we learned everything about it. And for graduation, he rented he didn't rent it. It was on Route 1. Oh, I can't. It's a restaurant there, and we had our friends come, and people had dinner, and then we got up and we did our act, our gig.
Your own material.
Yes, our material. And I did very well that night, I remember. I don't know why. Maybe it was having the family there and everything, and I felt very much at home. And I got up there. I did very well. And then, so I thought, well, this is a cinch. So the next time it was actually, I think it was an open mic someplace. And I remember it was very similar to this. I was great, and I stood up there, and I couldn't see the audience, just as that happens to Rose.
Yeah.
You can't see the audience. And I felt like a bug in a jar, as Rose said, because, all you have are the lights on you, and you just feel so exposed, and you start talking off the top of your head. You just sort of, you don't feel comfortable, and I remember
it didn't work as well.
It didn't work as well at all. And then I remember a friend from high school, sitting in the front row, and she said, "Sharon Love, how are you?" And I thought, oh my God. And I was talking to her at the same time. I didn't know you're not supposed to do that. You don't break in the middle of your act and start talking to someone. And I said, "I'm just doing this act." I said, "I'll talk to you later," while it was going on. And it was quite bizarre.
Did that get a laugh?
Well, I don't know. It seemed to me like the audience, like there was this vast silence, and I was there, this bug in a jar, and everybody staring at me, and I'm dying. And the worst thing is, my mouth got so dry that I had trouble talking too, and all I was just waiting for the lights to go off, or for it to end, and it was not good, but then I went on after that, and it was all right. But I decided I'm too old for this kind of stress. I can't take it.
But you do that occasionally.
In nursing homes, they were wonderful.
As Rose does.
Yes, that's
but
right.
She's got some good
the
jokes.
Nursing home, I say they are a tough audience, because they will get up in the middle of your act. They'll suddenly, and they'll go like this, and they'll get up, and sometimes they'll go like that, like that, to let you know that
I've spoken
they're leaving.
at nursing homes, and
Oh,
some of
yes,
my best poetry, best jokes get no reaction. I discover later they're all deaf, and they haven't heard one word.
I talk very loud, and a lot of people, and I took it personally. Like a lot of people are, they have many reasons for leaving. They're just, they're tired or whatever. And I remember every time I went on, it was after lunch. And that's very hard because, this population is used to resting after lunch. They're used to a nap. And here I was, and so some of them, were actually sleeping. They were sleeping. But
And Rose has the same trouble.
Oh, she
with
does.
Some of her
Keeping
people.
them
Although some
awake.
of her jokes are quite, they're funny. They're good.
oh, do you think they are?
I do. Well, I like the one.
Well, I
about,
made them up. So
why? See if I can remember the.
Okay.
Why? Oh, no, Rose says, I don't think I can think about taking another husband.
oh yes, that's
Because-
right. It took so long to train the first one. She said,
Yeah.
that's right. It takes so
Yeah.
long to train them.
Yeah.
And she's right. And also, one of her jokes was something like her husband ran off with her best friend, and she said how devastated she is. She goes on how devastated she is, and she said, I just can't adapt. I can't adjust. And she said, I miss her so much.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was one of them.
There's another in. I don't know if I can remember the punchline. It has to do with underwear made from
Yes.
window screens.
Oh yes, that's the one that she forgets. It's underwear. She forgets that joke. She can't remember the punchline,
Right,
she finds herself sort of at the very end of the book. She's appearing at Forrester's Night Owl.
Yeah.
That's right.
The
She
new-
goes
the new
on
rest-
after the
new
singer
nightclub.
and Otto, and she's appearing and she's suddenly she mentions the beginning, the opening to this joke, and she can't believe because she's never been able to remember it. And again, she can't remember it. But I had Kevin is planted in the audience. He's there, and he stands up and gives her the punchline. He delivers it and kind of saves her. So that's how they
And
get
share
back
that
together.
punchline with us.
It says there's a new, if I can remember, there's a new pantyhose out, and it's made out of window screens, and it might be a little bit scratchy, but if you're ever lost in the woods, you can rub your legs together and start a fire. I think that's what it was. Is that what it was?
That
Something
sounds right.
like that.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that. I have to
Kevin is
polish it up.
Is her boyfriend.
I have to polish it up a little bit, yes. And he took up with another woman, a very wealthy woman from Hemlock Point. That is the ritzy part of town, the
Sort of like
Shishi
Eastern
address.
Point,
yes, that's right.
here in
That's
Gloucester.
right. And he took up with her, and she was maybe 10 years older or something like that. And she, at the end, Rose is she's just furious with him. And she actually said, I remember someone someone emailed me after reading my book, and they said they liked the remark that she made about Kevin. And she said, if he were to die, she said she wouldn't attend, not only would she not attend his funeral, but she said she would take Chester to his gravesite, and so Chester could lift his leg on his stone, on his gravestone. And it sounds a little awkward saying this, but again, when you're so this woman liked that. She told me she liked that, and she said, I like the jokes. And someone else said to me, I hope you didn't write those jokes. And I said, oh, of course not. I had to get some bad jokes. I had to get some crummy jokes. But the fact is, yes, I did write them. But
They're funny.
I'm glad you think that. Maybe I gave up that act too soon, the stand-up
I want to
comedy.
say to our audience, this is a wonderful book about
Wow.
murder and investigation of murder.
Yes.
I don't want to give too much away. So there's an inheritance involved.
You have to read it.
There's a person who wants to get money and stops at nothing.
Yes.
And but we don't know who that is, of course.
Yes.
And I want to urge everybody to go out and get it. I also want to say, because I'm a poet,
Oh, I know that.
there's
I've
a
got your books,
there's
too.
a character in here who writes a poem. And
Oh, John, thank you for
Otto.
reminding me. Otto,
And-
no. Can I just say something before you go any further? That poem, when I wrote the poem about manatees, Death to the Manatees, I was thinking, I hope people don't think that. I think this is a good poem. Did you think it was a good poem?
I did not.
Good. Well, you're a professional.
I thought you did a good job, because this
You're a true
extends the
poet.
person's character.
Yes.
And one of the lines is, the concrete jungle teems with humanity, while beneath the sea lies a dead manatee.
Rhymes very nicely, though.
It does rhyme. It's nice couplets going down here, but it's very consistent with his character.
Yes.
And his bravado, and behind the bravado is, well, I don't
Yes,
want to say what's behind
he wants to save the manatees, and so you know, Otto isn't all bad. I actually kind of liked Otto. He's one of these people. He really is in his own world. He really is in his own world, and he thinks, you know, 19 years old, and his mother married into money, so he's there at Hemlock Point, living at the mansion at Hemlock Point. So he does get girls, and you know, it's because of, you know, the certain cachet because of his address.
The second Mrs. Southwick.
Yes, that's right, Smithwick. Yes,
Smithwick. Excuse me,
Smithwick.
Yeah.
She was Sonia.
Sonia something.
Yes, that's
Otto's
I know.
mother.
Otto Visnick or something like that. I can't remember.
Okay.
But well, you've got a good excuse. You didn't write it. I should remember all this stuff. But I had a little bit of stage, as I say.
I just got a signal, and I'm
Oh,
going to have to
okay.
begin to wrap up.
Oh, wow.
So-
Wow, that went so fast.
Sharon Love Cook, I want to thank you very much for being on the Writer's Block and talking about your latest Granite Cove mystery,
Yes.
Laugh Till You Die.
Yes.
I read it. It's a good book. It's mystery.
Thank you.
It's mysterious, suspenseful, and funny. Very, very funny.
Good.
I
Thank you,
I can
John.
recommend it highly. I want to thank our TV cable cast audience as well. If you've learned something about mystery writing, about Sharon Love Cook's career leading up to these Granite Cove mysteries, then the Writer's Block has done its job. And I hope to see you again next week on the Writer's Block. Thank you and good night.